In this scenario, a client meets a domestic violence advocate for the first time. She's been in a relationship with her husband for 1 year. They have 1 child together. There has been some previous emotional and verbal violence, and recently he became physically abusive. She depends on him for financial and emotional needs, and she's not quite sure what she should do at this point in time.
Hi, Emmy. I'm Denise. I'm one of the advocates here at the center. And
Nice
how are
to meet you.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. A little strange, feeling strange for this, but okay.
Yeah, it's something really different for you.
I've not done this before.
Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about what brings you here today?
I'm not even sure. I heard about this place and that you work with women who are having trouble with their relationship and are confused, and so I thought I'd give you guys a call. And so thank you so much for taking the time to see me.
Yeah. So you've heard a little bit about the program here. Would it help if I just explained a little bit about what my role might be today?
Yeah, because I don't know what to do.
Yeah. What I want to reassure you of is that I'm not here to try and tell you anything that you might need to do or to try and give you advice or information at all. I'm here to help you in whatever way is useful to you to sort of sort out what's going on and what, if anything, you'd like to do differently. So this is really up to you, what you would like to explore today. How does that sound?
That sounds really hard because I'm not sure I'm very good at sorting things out myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now you're feeling a little overwhelmed with everything that's going on, and you're not even sure where to start.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm kind of confused about what to do next, and I have a little baby at home, so I can't think anyway most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. So now any kind of decisions you make or anything that you do affects both you and the baby.
And my boyfriend, it affects him, which is why I guess I'm here, is to talk about him and me and the baby and how we work together.
Well, if you're interested or you're willing, why don't you tell me a little bit about your story?
I don't know where to start. He and I have been together for about a year, and I got pregnant right away, and we've just had this baby a little while ago. And before that, I was working, and he and I, we're on and off here and there. We get in fights, and he disappears for a while, and then he comes back. That's kind of what the years look like. And I've just been getting more and more confused on what to do. And recently I did something really that didn't even look like him. He looked like a different person, and it freaked me out. It freaked the baby out. And quite honestly, it freaked him out too. He said he didn't know what happened, and he said he felt out of control.
So in the history of the relationship over this year, it's kind of been in and out in a way, and that there have been some incidents where you've had some arguments and then separated for a while and gotten back together. But it does sound like something pretty significant happened that sort of freaked everybody out, and all of you, the baby and you and him, and was kind of scary.
Yeah, he came home. A friend had come over, a man friend. He doesn't like me to have men friends. He came over to help me with my resume because I'm starting to think about going back to work. And he had a weird look in his eye, and so I kind of, sped up, and I kind of let my friend leave. But as soon as right after he left, he kind of just got this dark, scary look, and he pushed me onto the ground, and it was just different than anything that ever has happened to me or to us together. And he just got this weird, kind of like he was possessed by something. And he said he would never do that again. He's a really good daddy, and he really helps us out a lot.
So in a way, it didn't even really make sense to you or to him, because on the one hand, he's really good with you and good with the father, I mean, good with your child, and on the other hand, it was just like, what is this? Something really different.
Yeah. And he really helps us out. And I didn't know what to do with that, so that's why, I guess that feeling that I have had since that happened has prompted me to call somebody to figure out what to do.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts right now about some of the options out there for you to do, if anything? What are you thinking about?
I haven't talked to anybody for a year, really.
You've gotten pretty isolated.
Yeah, I haven't. My parents live pretty far away, and I guess my boyfriend's kind of, I guess the word's jealous. He just really cares about us.
Yeah.
And so I haven't had a chance to really talk to people about what some ideas would be that, what could I do? I used to work, and I was kind of looking forward to working again. He's sort of made it clear that I don't need to work because he's going to take care of us. He brings home diapers and gives us some money when he's around, and so we really don't need it most of the time.
So you had been kind of thinking about maybe going back to work and doing some of that on your own, and yet he doesn't really. He's expressing that he'd like to be able to take care of you, and when he's there, he does take care of you.
Yeah, and he does take care of us. He makes sure that I have enough money for for the basic needs in the house, and he pays the rent, and but when he's gone and I run out of money, it just kind of, that's when I think, God, I just wish I could do a little bit by myself. I'm just not sure how to go about doing that.
Yeah. Because that leaves you in a real bind when you're there and you don't have what you need.
And I don't know who to talk to about that.
Yeah.
I try to call him sometimes and make up, and say sorry for the fight that we had, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. So you kind of find yourself, when you're in that bind, trying to find ways of getting what you need met.
Yeah. So I don't know how to do this. I mean, I don't know what to do next. I'm not very good at it.
Well, I just want to say we can go over some things that are potential to talk about, to really focus on, that might help you. But I just want to let you know that I really appreciate how hard this is to be able to talk about it. And it's not an easy situation, and you're definitely not alone. And I really appreciate your willingness to talk about it.
Thanks. It's really hard too.
Yeah, I know. There are lots of different things that we can talk about that many women in very similar situations find themselves, and things that we can talk about and focus our conversation on that might help you just sort of sort out and figure out what, if anything, that you want to do differently, or what your next step might be.
Okay.
And some of those that we work with are like talking about the relationship. You've mentioned a few things about your relationship and how it kind of goes in and out, and it can be really good, and then he can be gone for a while, and just sort of sorting some of that out about where you are with that. We can certainly talk about resources, about the resources in the community that may be there for you, or in terms of your own understanding, but also if you are in need of additional help. We can talk about those. We can talk about safety planning. I mean, one of the important things is to try and help you find a way to make sure that you feel good about keeping yourself and your baby safe. And we can talk about that. We can talk about finances. You mentioned that you were thinking about going back to work, but that you were relying on him right now. We can certainly explore that a little bit more. Taking care of yourself, which
Yeah, right.
yeah, for many new moms, that's hard under any circumstances to find a way to take care of themselves and keep themselves healthy. So that's certainly something we can talk about. And also just the whole issue about taking care of your child and your mothering, your parenting, how you might focus on that in this situation. Or there might be something else that you feel is really important to deal with right up front, just to start with. What do you think?
Well, it's funny as you're showing me this. I've been thinking, all I've been doing is focusing on the baby and being a good mom, and yet I'm also trying to think about getting a job, and I don't know how those two fit together. And even as I'm just saying that out loud, I'm not even talking about taking care of him, which is weird that I'm not even, when I look at these circles, I'm looking at mothering and children and finances, and that seems to be important, yet I spend so much time thinking about him all the time, and right now I'm not.
So maybe you spend a lot of time already thinking about your relationship and really struggling with what it means and where it is. And now you're kind of thinking, well, maybe I ought to think about some other things and see where I might go with those.
These things, a job and learning how to be a better mother, and might help the relationship. So that might be.
So it might be a way that focusing on how you might be able to take care of yourself, get a job, or look at the possibility of doing that, and at the same time trying to incorporate your taking care of your child. Those things might help you and might free you up to figure out then what to do about the relationship.
What to do about the relationship? Yeah, what to do about the relationship? I'm not sure what to do with the relationship.
Yeah, you know, you're the only one that really will know about that, about the dealing with the relationship, about when the timing is right for any decision that you make, one way or the other.
I don't even know what to think about that. I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've been making any decisions.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you'd like to think about making some decisions in other areas, and when you think about, was that right? Or would you like to focus a little bit on just the possibility of getting a job? Is that something you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, and how to balance that with being a mom at the same time, because that sounds really hard.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you had kind of been thinking about going back to work after the baby was born. What thoughts do you have about how you might go about balancing that and thinking about that? What have you thought about?
Well, I guess I think initially that I would need his help more. He would need to help take care of the baby. He doesn't do that now, so I don't know, and it's kind of scary that I don't know what that would look like. So I would have to find some other help to be able to go to work, even just part-time, so I could get some childcare or something.
Yeah. So you might have to explore some other options for the child care and other ways of taking care of the baby, so that you would feel okay about going back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody I trusted.
Yeah.
And I'd have to figure out just the timing of that, and a job that would fit a schedule where I could still breastfeed and help her with her naps and make sure I'm there for bedtime and all those important times. But make enough money that it was worthwhile to
do it.
To be out and working and paying somebody. God, that sounds like a lot.
It really does sound, though, like you're really deeply committed to taking care of your child and providing the kind of structure and things, the basic needs, and really taking care of your child at the same time. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very important to me. Yeah. I didn't think I wanted to have children, and then we did. So I would like him to be a daddy in that. Wow. Just realized I was thinking about him not being around as the daddy, and I'm not really sure what to do with that. But the baby is the most important thing right now. I didn't realize that. I've spent so much time thinking about him all the time. And when is he going to be back? And does he love us? And why the heck did he do that weird thing? And why does he care about these other things that he cares about?
Like being jealous and not wanting you to have friends.
Yeah, why does he? And it has nothing to do with what I'm thinking about now, which is the baby. And
But you've mentioned that a couple times now, that it sort of surprises you the way you're thinking about it and the way you're approaching it. Like you're recognizing or seeing that you have spent a lot of time really agonizing over the relationship and why things are happening in the relationship or what it really means. You've spent a lot of time there, and it kind of surprises you that you might be thinking about it differently.
agonizing. I guess that's what I've been doing. I feel like I've just been hoping and wishing, and it seems like all my focus is always. So when the baby's crying, I'm worrying about him, and I. So the baby crying is just it's hard, but if just now talking about it, letting go of worrying about it feels kind of freeing. That I could actually think about why the baby's crying as opposed to why is he not returning my calls, or why did he give me that look when I, talked about getting a job and things like that. It's not so interesting.
So you're realizing too how much it really takes to focus attention on the baby and to be able to do it, and it's like it's hard to do both. It's hard to really think about doing both.
I need his help with that.
Yeah.
I don't need to be worrying about him too. I don't understand what safety planning means.
Well, one of the things that we look at is trying to help people who are in a situation similar to you, where there might be some fear about something that might happen, or and I know you said he had indicated that he wouldn't do it again, but sometimes it really helps people to have some plans in place for what you would do if anything came up, and how to get you and your baby safe if that's what needs to happen.
So if he kind of got that weird look in his eye again, which actually I've seen before, but he just never really did anything like this before.
It just went farther this time.
Yeah. Okay. So like if I saw that look, what to do? Is that...
Yeah. And sometimes that ties in with, there might be places that you can go to get safe. There might be steps that you can take to really keep yourself safe, or make sure that the baby's safe, or people to call, or just things that you can do based on what your life is like and what resources you have available to you. Is that something you're interested in really exploring?
It sounds kind of freaky to think that I would have to keep myself safe from somebody that says he loves me and, loves the baby. It sounds a little strange.
In some ways, it just seems like it shouldn't have to be that way.
No, it shouldn't have to be that way. But I didn't expect him to do what he did either, so that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Really took you by surprise. It's something that you're just trying to figure out how does this fit, and what does it mean, and what do I do with it?
Yeah.
How do I respond to this?
Yeah. It doesn't seem real. So I guess thinking about that kind of makes sense ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I got it all, and then we can make some decisions about where to move from here, or how to take the next step with that. I want to make sure I understand a little bit about your situation. And first of all, this is the first time you've come in. This is the first time that you've had something that really happened, this incident that happened where he pushed you, really prompted you to take some steps because it scared you. And you are wanting to protect yourself and your baby. You really want to protect the baby. You have this relationship that's been kind of off and on, and but he's been very supportive and helpful in terms of meeting your basic needs and the baby's basic needs, and wants to take care of you. And there are times when it's really good. And there are times when you've been less sure, and this incident has also made you kind of think about that. Some of the ways that you've been thinking about, or thinking about it now, it kind of surprises you, but you're thinking about the possibility of maybe working it out to go back to work a little bit so that you can have more financial independence, if you will, or be able to take care of yourself for those times when you need to. And you're starting to toy with the idea of maybe it might be useful to have a really good plan to keep yourself safe. Did I kind of get it all?
That kind of captures it all. Yes, yeah. I don't know where to start. But I guess that's why I'm talking to you.
Yeah. So maybe we can take that next step and when we get together again, and we can do that, we can just take the next step and start looking at some planning for both of those areas, for keeping yourself safe and for looking at the possibilities, because there are options and resources out there should you choose to make the decision to go back to work. There are some options for you.
So there's like somebody can help me work on my resume or something like that?
There are other options for a variety of things, and we can have some discussions about that.
Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds good. That'd be nice.
Well, I really appreciate, again, your coming in today, and we will follow up with this conversation, and you will have, hopefully, to give you what you need to make any decisions that you need. And again, they are your decisions about what, if anything, you want to change and what your next step is.
Thank you. I think I'll go get my baby from childcare, and should we make another appointment or something?
Yes, let's make another appointment when we go out front.
Okay. Thank you.